Hi, welcome to Kelly Talks. My name is Kelly Lorraine, and I'm here to talk to you about all things spirituality. Today's topic is a bit of a sensitive one, so bear with me. We're going to talk about the reasons why you may be grieving and may not even know it, so stay tuned. As someone who does sessions every day with people, I make observations, and one of the ones that's come up for me a lot lately is the fact that so many of you have been grieving and may not even know it. And the reason I say you may not even know it is because I don't think that there's a real definition to encompass the beast that grief is. Before we get into it, let me ask you a question. How do you define grief? In the comments, let me know what it means to you. Now, I find it fascinating because grief is something that all human beings experience at one point or another, and of course, in various ways. This is what's called the human condition, the human experience, human nature, whatever label you'd like to use. Now, when I was in a classroom and I would teach my English language and literature texts to my students, oftentimes we would talk about the human condition. And interestingly enough, it was one of the hardest topics to teach. The reasons for it is because it's not so simple. Everybody has a unique experience, right? Yet we're all part of the human experience. So therefore, something so simple is actually quite difficult because we all have our own traumas, triggers, hurts, experiences, and when we share them, everybody gives a different perspective. Lucky for us, we have something known as the 5 stages of grieving. This can help you identify where you are on your grieving journey. The first stage is denial, meaning we just can't believe that it's happened. Second, we have anger. This is where all the emotions come to the surface. We're mad at the world, mad at people, whoever's in our way, essentially. And our third stage is bargaining. It's the shoulda, coulda, woulda. What if I had done this? What if I had said that? Fourth stage, depression. This is where we really feel the lows, right? I mean, the grieving process is about ups and downs, but I think it's where we hit our lowest of low, and then eventually we work ourselves up towards acceptance. In a minute, I'm going to talk about why you may be grieving and may not even know it. Before I do that, I want to talk to you a little bit about my grieving journey and my experience. I want to preface that grieving is not just about the death of a person. It can be many aspects of our lives. Yes, the loss of a loved one, the loss of a job. This could be a loss of a relationship, a loss of identity, changes in life that we just can't control. They all encompass the 5 stages of grieving, in my opinion. One of the reasons why I'm making this video today is because in September, it will be 2 years since the passing of my father. Let me just take a sip of coffee. Maybe I just needed a little minute here to gather my feelings and my thoughts. You know, it's been a tough ride. Back in 2014, my father had sepsis, which is very dangerous, very life-threatening, and luckily he survived. Years later, he developed dementia, Parkinson's, and it became a very rough road to his passing. Now, I am very blessed in so many ways. The way in which he passed was very peaceful. We were lucky that he wasn't in a home or a facility. He was as self-sufficient as he could be for as long as he could be. My mother helped him as much as she possibly could. I think we did everything we possibly could before his passing. And I'm okay with that. I'm at peace with that. But I will say that it has been a very interesting experience for me to lose a parent, as I'm sure it is for anyone else. We all handle things differently, and there's no right or wrong way to grieve a situation. Having had this reflection, it's been really profound with my practice and the sessions I get to do every day with people. I get to hear your stories of grief, how you've processed, and that's actually helped me quite a bit. And in turn, I can share a lot of those things with my social media platforms. I think what I've learned most is that grief, like I said earlier, is not just about the loss of a loved one. Grief is about the loss of a relationship, the loss of identity, the loss of a career. It can encompass so many things. And I know that we've all experienced such things. I mean, I'm sure many of you have changed jobs in your life where you had to accept that a stage of your career was over and that you had to move on to something different. I know I went through that when I left my teaching career to pursue this full time. I mean, I've never looked back, but I will admit to you, it was very sad for me. I loved my students. I missed the routine of going to school every day, seeing the people that I saw, doing the things that I did, getting to teach people things, that were really important to their growth and evolution. I guess now, in a way, I do that, but in a spiritual way or in a different way. So I am still teaching in theory, but it was very hard for me to let go. I felt a lot of guilt letting go of my teaching career. My mother was a teacher for 46 years, and when I was ready to transition myself out of my career, I felt very guilty for that. She didn't necessarily make it easy for me. We've worked through a lot of that, but I had to grieve the old me so that I could have the new me. Remember, your new life is going to cost you your old life. This leads me to the next part, which is loss of relationships, whether they're romantic, friendship, family relationships. There's a whole lot of grief that comes with the loss of these connections. And the topic of my day every day really is about this. And most people, I don't think, realize what they're struggling with behind the loss of these relationships. More than likely, it's a loss of identity, a loss of self. If you've ever been through a divorce, I have, and I can tell you that you become a partnership with somebody, and at times you lose yourself in all of that. And it makes it very difficult to suddenly be on your own, even though you're craving it. How many of you have ever left a relationship that you were in for many, many years? You felt good initially, you had the high, the freedom to be on your own, and then suddenly you went, well, who am I? I thought this was going to be fun. I thought I was going to be out living my best life. And suddenly there's this grief that sets in that, did I make a mistake? Should I have done this? What am I going to be doing now? And all these thoughts come rolling in. This sadness comes in. This what if? What am I going to do? All of a sudden our life becomes this big question. I can also attribute this to, let's say, the twin flame or soulmate journey, where you're sparked by somebody and it's overwhelmingly amazing. You feel like you're finally going to get your due after all the stuff you've been through in your life. And then you see that it all goes away because the universe is trying to teach you a lesson. So then you're grieving not only something you thought was going to be ultimately amazing, you're grieving the fact that you can't be in the same energy that you used to be in. It's just not going to work anymore. You can also describe these moments as tower moments, and we've talked about this in other Kelly Talk videos. Tower moments are when major life things happen and it brings you to your knees. Like I just said, loss of a loved one, loss of a friendship, loss of a career, loss of a relationship that you loved so, so much, right? This is all part of the human experience. And these tower moments, they really show you who you are. And with all of that, I find that we end up losing friendships the most because our vibration changes. We're trying to be in new energy. Other people see that, and all of a sudden, they're not comfortable with it. They go, is there something different about you? Are you okay? All of a sudden, the projections start happening where the more you start to do new things in your life, the more the distance is created with the people around you. And we start to lose friends. We start to lose people around us that were once important to us. And suddenly we have to grieve that loss as well. I guess if I had to sum it up, I would say that it's a loss of identity. Your new life is going to cost you your old life. And all these different facets contribute to the grief that we feel on the daily. So don't just attribute grief to the death or loss of a person, a pet, whoever in your life. It's about the daily things that we once knew that just don't fit in our lives anymore. And I know it's difficult, but anything is possible to work through. If we want new energy in our life, we have to spark new energy, but we also have to be willing to let go of the things that no longer serve us. That's what growth mindset is. I'm looking at the staircase behind me, and just imagine for a moment, every time you go up a step, you have to release an old one, right? So we can stay stuck. We can wallow in the grief, or we can grow to accept what has happened and look forward to new things. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. but anything is possible. And I can help you with this process. But I would invite you to think about all the things that are happening in your life right now and recognize that you may just be grieving and not even know it. You might be struggling with how to tell people that you're moving forward and you can't take everyone with you. You know, my mother once said to me, only you can make yourself feel guilty. And I remember feeling so frustrated with that line. But you know what? She was right. I was making myself feel guilty for doing things to change myself, to better myself. Remember that every person is responsible for their own healing. It's important that we take responsibility and accountability for where we've been, where we're at, and where we want to be in the future. We do have a choice. There's so many more things I would love to share about this topic. Please, in the comments, let me know what topics or themes that you'd like me to talk about further. This is something that I would like to continue. Maybe we can make this into a series about grief. But I would love your input, your thoughts. Feel free to share with me and others. I mean, we are a family. This is a community where we can help each other. Again, thank you for watching this video. I really appreciate it. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It really means the world to me and helps me with my algorithm. If you'd like to do a personal reading with me or a session with me, the link is in my bio. I send you a lot of love. And right now, if you are grieving, know that you're not alone. This is part of the human experience, and we can find comfort in each other. Thank you for watching.